Be right back.
Blog Talk Radio.
Desperados, I'm back. Yes, she's still alive. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Desperate House Witches. I'm Raina Stark, so you don't have to be. Desperate House Witches is not a G, PG, or even an R-rated show. So, bad language, bodily function, dirty talk of any kind might offend you. This would not be the show for you. But you know this is the show for you, and that's why you keep tuning in. Desperate House Witches is brought to you by one of my favorite humans, who's actually tonight's guest, the amazing Dorothy Morrison. Please go to wickedwitchstudios.com. It is the Merry, Merry month of Morrison, and to celebrate Dorothy's birthday, she has been doing her magical mystery packages. But instead of me going on about it, she's right here, so we'll let her talk about it. Everybody say hello to one of my most favorite people in the world, the amazing Dorothy Morrison. Hey, Dorothy.
Hi, Raina. How are you?
I'm in recovery from an extensive 2 weeks off from the show because I had no voice. I was suffering from the flu and or sinus infection. I think it was both. And it was really weird because when I called the telemedic, the doctor said, I'm going to treat you for allergies. Allergies? Madam, you've never met me. How do you know I have allergies? And then she said something that made me want to hit her, which was, well, as you get older, you develop allergies that you never had before. I was like, oh, is that so? Okay, well, I'm telling you that I cannot breathe and my bronchial tubes are dying here without oxygen. So she proceeds to tell me that I need Flonase and that I need Zyrtec D. I played along. I said, I don't think this is going to work, but I will try it because you are a medical practitioner and I am not. So I got the medication as she prescribed. It did nothing. I waited for 3 days. I messaged back and I said, I'm just going to let you know that nothing you have suggested has worked because I don't have these allergies of which you. Fortunately, I will be seeing my regular doctor in 3 more days from now. Have a great time. Yeah, it was so frustrating how you just magically or unmagically in this case decide that you can look at someone and know exactly what is wrong with them without so much as even reading the medical history.
Well, you know, this is why I think they have televisits now, so you cannot punch them. Yes.
Yeah,
or you really can't chastise them either because they can hang up on you. You know, if you're right there in the office, it's hard for them to just walk out on you.
Now, that's true. And while I do understand that there's a lot to be said for being in the office and having tests and so forth, the idea when you have not slept in 2 days because your cough has been racking your chest and you're so exhausted that you don't feel safe not only driving, but not even getting dressed for that matter, there's got to be some kind of a better way. There's got to be a more detailed list of questions and symptoms that can be reviewed before any kind of a serious diagnosis can take place. And I should have known better, but Dorothy, I was so sick. I could barely get my head up off the pillow, and it was all I could do to just stay on the phone while this was going on. So
exactly.
It's difficult. It's a hard call. Have you had any experience with televisits?
You know, I haven't. because I absolutely refuse to do any kind of video, anything. And fortunately, I have not really been that sick since televisits were the norm. Okay, so that's been fortunate. I'm fortunate because I'm seldom sick, but I know exactly what you're talking about because I have been that sick. I've even been like crawled to the bathroom sick and then gone, oh, I'll just camp out on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, I've done it. Oh,
you know,
it's not a good feeling. Yeah.
No, it's not.
As a witch of a certain age, and I am of a certain age, and it's not like I can really say, oh, this young woman doesn't know what she was talking about. The truth is, yes, I am of a certain age, and yes, do things happen as you grow older, if you have the luxury of growing older? Yes, things do change, but the immediate out-of-hand dismissal of what I was trying to say to her just felt really kind of shitty.
Well, and it was crappy because here's the deal. After you've lived a certain amount of years, if you are a magical practitioner, you are pretty much in tune with your body. And now I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I still believe that Western medicine is its own kind of magic, and I am not advocating that anyone should try to heal themselves if they are that sick and not go to the doctor or not get medical, professional medical advice. I'm not that, but I pretty much know what is going on with me so that I have a good idea before I seek a medical professional. And so I know that I have sinus trouble right now because our weather has been very interesting, and we will have summer one day and spring the next, and the oak trees have not stopped blooming.
Wow.
And they started blooming around, the oak trees in my yard started blooming around the end of January and have continued. And so everything is covered with this fine yellow mist, everything, constantly. Yeah. And so Zizal and I have become very dear friends. But I know that it is, I know what it is. And that's fine if there's no need for me to go to the doctor because I know, okay? I also know that my eye, my left eye, has been watering more, and I'm sure that has something to do with it, but that is also the eye that I had surgically repaired. And so chances are it's going to water a little more for a while. So, I kind of don't worry about that. But yes, this not being able to breathe stuff, that is really, really disconcerting. So we were discussing earlier before we went on the air about witchcraft and illness. And so should we delve right into that?
I think we should, because I don't think it's a subject, well, it's certainly not for me is a subject that I've heard discussed in any kind of detail whatsoever. I mean, certainly when you get sick, it can, depending on how ill you are, it can put a real crimp in a regular practice, depending on what your level of practice is, daily or weekly or bi-weekly or whatever it is. And, I struggle very much with remembering if I'm very, very sick, there are moments I have a lot of trouble remembering that I even am a witch because I'm too busy trying to breathe.
But I think all of us go through that, whether we're sick or not. Because sometimes someone has to tell me, Dorothy Morrison, remember who you are. Stop whining about this and remember who you are. and what you know how to do. So one of the things that, I've had some formal training, and I don't know if all of your listeners are going to know how to do this or not. But if they don't, there are some exercises in my book, The Craft, that will help them.
Yes.
One of the things that I learned to do had to do with breathing in elements. And it's element breathing. And when my temperature flares, because this is something you can do lying in the bed without much effort. I tend to, if I have a high fever, I tend to breathe in water. And this is really a visualization. I shut my eyes and I visualize water, cool water, coursing through my veins, entering my pores, okay, coursing through my veins, not getting in the way of the blood, not diluting my blood, none of that, okay, but just kind of going into my pores. It's pore breathing, okay?
Wow.
I usually do like 2 or 3 breaths, not big gulps, just easy breaths, okay? And you know, if you are not able to actually breathe, just visualize your pores opening up and water that's on your skin just soaking in. And that tends to bring down my temperature. Now, I had, when I was a young witch and was just learning how to do this, I was in a hotel room. And I learned, this is when I learned not to breathe in too much with water. I had an experience with the water element. So I'm lying in the bed, and I can't sleep, and I'm thinking, okay, so I'll just work on this pore breathing exercise. And I did. And all of a sudden, I heard this noise. And all of the spigots in the room, in the sink, and in the bathtub came on. And they're pouring water. And that would have been okay. Except then, not only did that happen, the sprinkler system in the room went off. Oops. And so now there is water everywhere, and now an alarm goes off, and all of these people, all of us, are outside the hotel. The fire department has been called because, oh, my God, the sprinkler systems went off. And I thought, oh, surely I didn't do this. Surely I didn't. But anyway, I thought, okay.
Sure you didn't.
So now that was a little overkill. So now I need to be careful, you know, with this kind of thing. But yes, that will lower your temperature. And you know, and when your temperature goes down, then you start to feel a little better. I also learned something to do with blood pressure. Okay?
Oh, please. Yes, tell me.
And now for people who take blood pressure meds, for God's sake, do not get off your blood pressure meds, okay, because you need them. Right. Regardless of what I'm going to say, you need them. But there have been times when I have been in a doctor's office. I had one doctor who was all the time trying to find something the matter with me. And to start with, she would be, she wasn't just running late for appointments. She would get there late and have 3 appointments already waiting for her by the time she got there. And so this one time I waited 2 hours in the damn waiting room, and it was just for a checkup. And when she walked in, all she wanted to talk about were her tuxedo cats, Boris and Natasha, which I have to tell you pissed me off. I was not happy.
Doubt.
And then she puts me on the blood pressure machine, and my blood pressure is high. Well, God, I wonder why. I'm already mad. And she has spent 20 minutes talking about her cats. So, and then, of course, she kept wanting to rerun my blood pressure and rerun my blood pressure. And what I learned was slow, easy, gentle breaths. Okay? And by God, it brought it down to normal. You know.
I had a problem with this because I tried to. Okay, so if that story is really interesting because almost the exact same thing just happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I went into the doctor's office. She takes my blood pressure the minute you sit down, and of course it's high because you're running around to the appointment, you're checking in, you're moving from this chair to that chair, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. So she sits me down in the chair, and the blood pressure goes up to 166 over, I think it was like 90-something. Obviously very high. Then she waits, and she takes it again 10 minutes later, and it's 141 over something. I can't remember. So we're going through the appointment. We're talking about other things. She says, listen, I am going to take your blood pressure one more time. And if it's not under 130, we're going to put you on blood pressure medication. And I'm like, so she goes and she takes the pressure again and shoots back up. I'm like, because you're stressing me out. Why would you say that to me? Yeah.
Normally, it is the bottom number that they're more concerned about. So that kind of surprises me that she was way concerned about the top number instead of the bottom one. So did she put you on blood pressure medication?
She sure did.
Are you taking it?
I am, absolutely.
Okay.
And when I went last week, you know, for some medicine for this horrible sinus thing I was going through, my blood pressure was, at first when I walked in, it was 140 over 90 or something like that. And then a few minutes later, she took it again. It was 121 over 80. So it was pretty close to perfect. So she was very, and I'm on a very low dose of losartan. She's like, I don't want to put you on anything too heavy. I don't want to put you on too much. Let's just try this. She was very happy with the result. It's once a day. It's a tiny little pill. Okay, no big deal. Fine. Yeah. But it's like, don't set me up for failure. And I feel like sometimes doctors do that on purpose, where they will tell you that they are going to do something, and then you get nervous about that, and then, of course, you exhibit all of the symptoms that would necessitate them taking that course of action. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know.
It's, well, you know, the interesting thing is I actually have, I found a doctor here that I really like, okay, but I'm not sick, and unfortunately, I am way behind on my wellness checkups and so on and so forth, and so I probably need to get in. But some doctors are, you know, they've had drilled into their heads different things. I one time had a doctor that, I'm telling you, if I had the headache from hell, it was because I was overweight. Seriously. And it's like, I'm sorry, extra fat around my middle does not give me a headache. You are giving me a headache. Well, you know, I also I broke my foot. I was staying with Raven and Stephanie Gramasi, and they had, and I was staying on their third floor, and I used to take the servant stairs down to the kitchen, and I had left my iPad down there, and they had gone. They were like giving a lecture someplace that night. So I went down the servants' stairs, which were not well lit. I missed the bottom stair. I slid on a throw rug on the floor at the base of the stairs and broke my foot. So, okay. When I finally got back home, of course, you know, I went to urgent care, and they splinted it and wrapped it up and blah, 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 blah. So when I got back home, I go to see the orthopedic guy, and he tells me that if I don't quit smoking, my foot isn't going to heal. And I went, what? And he said, oh, no, you know, it's not going to heal if you don't quit smoking. And I said, and what do my lungs have to do with my foot? And he said, well, I'm just telling you. And I said, okay, I'm telling you that I will probably heal quicker than the rest of your patients. And I actually did, okay? So sometimes Of course I did,
I would
yes.
expect nothing less. Of course you did. Because you have remarkable healing properties, and people don't know who they're fucking with, damn it. I mean, seriously, if anybody is going to know their body, and I know you are very physically aware of, you know, your internal workings, and we could probably all stand to be a little bit more in touch with what's happening in our physical bodies instead of some of the more mindless things that occupy our time these days, to be honest.
Well, he actually was amazed. He really was because I did heal quickly, and he wanted me to do the physical therapy thing, and my husband was working out of state, and it was my right foot, so I couldn't drive myself, and and we had stairs and all kinds of stuff, and so finally, I did my own physical therapy. He couldn't find anybody to come to the house. That wasn't an option. Yeah. And so I wound up going up and down stairs. So when I got back, he said, did you do physical therapy? And I said, no. Not out of my home. I did my own. And he went, yeah, right. Let's see you walk.
Oh, boy.
And so I went, fine. And, and so he's going to walk with me down the hall. Well, hell, before he got halfway out of his office, I was down to the end of the hall and coming back. And he went, okay. He said most people who say they've done their own physical therapy don't actually do it. And I said, look, I don't have time to be down. So if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to, because I have to be mobile. I have to be ambulatory. I don't have time to screw around.
Yeah.
And so it was fun. But, this thing about being sick and and if it affects your magic or if it doesn't, I think it depends on whether or not you have a magical practice or whether or not you live a magical life.
Interesting.
Because there's a difference. Okay? If you incorporate your practice into your everyday life, then it becomes second nature to the point that you're not even thinking about it anymore. You're just doing it. It just so happens that I am writing a foreword for a book for a very dear friend right now because I really don't write anymore. But I felt like I had to do this because I owed her. But one of the things about this particular book is that it talks about about things being second nature and how everything in your home, everything is magical. For example, I really don't like to iron, and I have mostly stuff in my closet that does not need that. And if it needs it, okay, then I send it out to be done. I just take it to the dry cleaners. We're done with that, right? But I also piece quilts, and that means that I have to use my iron because I have to press seams so things lie flat.
Sure.
Okay, but so here's the thing. So this is part of living a magical life. When you press cloth, you iron out problems. Think about that for a minute.
Well, that makes sense. That makes
You
a lot
know?
of sense.
Yeah. If you are able to hang clothes on the line, but even if you use the dryer, this gives new license to or new definition to airing dirty laundry. Think about that.
I always learn something when I talk to you. Yes. That makes a lot of sense.
When dirty water goes down the drain, whether you've washed dishes by hand or taken a bath or whatever, okay, but you watch it go down the drain, even flushing the toilet, okay, you can be throwing your worries down the drain. Get rid of them.
Oh. Wow.
So,
and your illnesses too, right? Wouldn't you say
yes.
that? You could also
yes.
be getting rid of whatever it is that is causing you illness.
Especially if
what a simple thing.
Yeah, especially if you're using the toilet or even blowing your nose.
Yep.
Because you're getting that junk out.
Yep.
You're relieving yourself of it.
Yeah, and that occurred to me towards the end of this particular illness that I was releasing all of these things, but it took me. I was really, really sick. The first week was almost impossible. I couldn't talk. I couldn't get out of bed. I was really, really down. But it's as though when the illness started to break, I was almost coming back into my body, into my own mind, because it hit me so hard that it was like I was knocked for a loop and taken by surprise by how sick I actually became. So I guess the mindfulness of who you are and what your capabilities are and what you know to be fact of getting rid of whatever it is and making things clean again or clear again is so important to remember, not just when you're sick, but all the time.
Yes, it is. And the other thing, the other thing is this: if you practice, okay, let's talk about practice instead of living a magical life, okay? Because there's nothing wrong with practice as opposed to that, okay? Because I don't know that everybody actually has the luxury of living a magical life. Right. Because they've got all these other things on their mind, okay?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But okay, if you practice, let's say you practice twice a week, you work magic twice a week, and you're sick, and you can't do it. What you need to remember is that sleep, in and of itself, is a magical process. Because your body heals when you're sleeping. So for goodness sake, don't freak out because you always do this particular magical thing on Tuesday and you do this particular magical thing on Thursday, and you can't do it, or you don't feel well enough to put your all into it. Give yourself time to rest.
Yeah.
Because your body is going to heal when you do that. A lot of people during the dark of the moon use that time to, rest and regenerate.
Yeah.
So don't freak out. That doesn't mean that you're no longer magical or you're going to lose your magic or you're going to be punished because you didn't do this, that, or the other that you normally do. You'll get back to it. In the meantime, you need to remember that your body is a magical machine.
Very
that
true.
Your brain is the most magical tool you have. And once in a while, it needs you to stop and let it rest.
So true. It's true. And sometimes I think your body will give you the rest whether you want it or not, and sometimes that has to take the form of an illness, especially if you don't pay attention to your body enough and you run yourself ragged, which, I don't know, Dorothy, I think I may have accused you of that once or twice, and I think you may have accused me of that once or twice, huh?
Oh, at least just once or twice, maybe. You know, the thing is, the way my body makes me stop is it usually breaks a bone.
I know.
That's usually what happens with me, and I rage at the sky, and I think, and I say, you know, couldn't you have found a better way to do this? But no, because that stops me in my tracks. Now, you know, even with a broken foot or a broken ankle or whatever, I have managed to still work. I got a cheap chair from IKEA that one of my neighbors brought me that had casters on it, and I could roll myself from one room to another and hop on one foot to grab what I needed and sit my ass back down and still fill orders, okay? But I also gave myself license to go back to bed if I needed to.
Right.
And, you know, so, you know, part of that, you know, is knowing when to stop and getting enough rest. Because, you know, a tired witch is not a powerful witch.
This is true, but, you know, as a witch of a certain age, which I am, I was always encouraged that I had to work harder, work longer, be stronger, do this and do that to compete with men, especially in the business world. And I think, you know, having grown up when I grew up, that was kind of ingrained into me and continuously, you know, told to me through various forms, not just my own family, but by the world around me. So I think sometimes we push ourselves harder than we're supposed to because we've always been told that we have to. So it's a good lesson to remember that, no, we don't have to buy into the nonsense we may have been raised with.
Yeah, you know, and I get that too. You know, I'm a witch of a certain age too, and now this witch is closer to 70 than 65. And you know, I think
I'm right behind you. I'm catching up.
The way I handled that, you know, my mother was a really smart lady. And I remember her insisting when I was in high school that I take every single course in high school, every elective that would put me on the way to being a great secretary. And I thought it was crap, but I did it, okay?
Yep.
Because her theory was this. You know what? Men may think they rule the world, but they can't do it without a great secretary. And you will be indispensable, okay?
Yep.
And so, you know, I worked myself up into management positions, so on and so forth. And the way I handled the guys in the office was, might even be frowned on now a little bit, but it worked well for me. I became one of the guys.
That's me. That's me at work, one of the guys.
And you know, and I was never offended if they asked me to bring them a cup of coffee. Okay? Never.
Right.
That didn't bother me at all. Okay, it didn't make me feel less than, because occasionally they would share their lunch with me. And so because I was one of the guys, I never felt uncomfortable. You know, they would dish out some kind of crap, and I would dish it right back, and we'd all laugh, and we'd be done. And so all that worked well for me. So I kind of felt like, even when I was in management positions, I kind of felt like I didn't have to work longer and harder, okay? I just knew how to play the game. So maybe, okay, maybe it was easier for me to kind of go, I'm only one person. I can only do this much. Now, since I now work for myself, now I push myself harder.
Right.
And the reason for that is because people are buying products from me, and I have their money in my hand, and I feel like I need to get them their products as quickly as possible. So I work hard at customer service.
Yeah.
And, so there are times when I will work 12, 14 hours a day because I am my own slave driver, as crazy as that sounds.
That's true.
So, but yeah, when you're sick, the body is telling you, slow this down and just let me rest. And I think sometimes if we would slow down, the body wouldn't have to tell us that.
That's true. I could even tell you, I know when I got sick. I know where I picked it up from. I remember everything about that moment because I was running from one room to another, and I walked into a room where someone had been sick merely seconds before I entered the room. He walked out, I walked in, and I knew something was different. And as a matter of fact, another coworker said, oh, blah, 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 just left. They're really sick. And I'm like, oh, no. That's what I felt when I walked in the room. And it's almost like it was standing there waiting for somebody to come and pick it up, and that somebody was me, and I picked it up. And it was just an odd moment because I recognized it.
When I was on the road a lot, when I was touring and doing festivals and stuff, I always had what I called my emergency kit. Always. And it was Dayquil and NyQuil, the little capsules, and a flask of whiskey. and
exactly.
My mother used to
I'm sorry, dear.
That's okay.
I was just saying that whiskey is a great disinfectant inside and out.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. My mother used to say that when I got tired, that was when I got sick. And I could almost feel it coming on. And so then I would take either the Dayquil or the NyQuil, depending on whatever time of the day it was, okay, I would start that little regimen, and I would have a shot of whiskey every day. And that would get me through, and I never got sick. And how funny is that, but that's what kept me on the road, because there were times when I'd be gone 3 weeks at a time. And, and it was, a lot of times it was 12-hour days or running from this airport to that airport to that rental car to, hurry, get here, get there. And, but that's how I kept from being sick. But it was because I knew how my body worked. And so I would, and the other thing is now, after all those years, 20-odd years on the road and in and out of airports, which are germy, shaking hands with people, hugging people, people are germy, all this kind of stuff. Now I have a pretty stout immune system.
Yep.
Which is lucky. But I always had an emergency kit. So, that helped me in a lot of ways. Now, of course, I don't have an emergency kit. I don't tour anymore, so now I have a medicine cabinet. So there you have it.
And there you go. Yeah, you know, planning ahead and being prepared, recognizing it and doing something about it when you first realize that, oh, I may be in a situation where I'm getting sick, and not waiting to see if it goes any further. I think that was part of my problem, was I waited to see if, oh, is it really going to be bad? Maybe it'll just be a brief cold. But no, I didn't do anything to take care of the situation or try to nip it in the bud. As your friend Mark likes to do, he takes, of course, the minute anyone's ill in our house, he doubles up on all of his vitamins and proceeds to not catch whatever it is that either of us have brought into the house. So that is his regimen and how he keeps himself from getting ill. I should have paid better attention, obviously, and next time I will think better of waiting to see how bad it gets. That was kind of stupid on my part. But
well, you know, you're probably like I am, and you don't like to take a bunch of pills. I just don't like to.
Me neither. Yeah, I don't. I hate it, actually. I really don't. It's kind of like when she told me she was putting me on blood pressure medication. I'm like, I've made it this far without having to take, you know, all of these different things. And I'm like, really? Now? Oh, and she's like, yeah, sorry, it's happening. I'm like, okay. And I'm hopeful that at some point she may decide that, that I've either lost enough weight or my diet has changed enough that she feels comfortable taking me off again. I think once, you don't necessarily have to be on a certain medication for the rest of your life if it is possible that conditions can change. So,
sure.
I would like to see if maybe I can make that happen, of course, under her guidance, because I don't want my heart to explode. And both of my parents have had strokes in the past. So it is something that I do need concerned about. Not fearful, but concerned. So, looking at cholesterol and all these different things. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't mean to make this a medical show, but I thought it was interesting because I very rarely hear other witches talk about being ill and how, what they do to try to encourage their bodies to get better. So Dorothy, I really appreciate that you were willing to talk with me about this, because I think we do forget be mindful of our bodies and, think about what the body needs. Very intentional in, like you were saying earlier about pore breathing. I mean, I'm really taking that to heart. And as you explained, you've got to be really careful and specific. But I think that's a wonderful visualization tool to expel some of the things that you want out and to bring in some of the things that will heal. And I think it's very important, and I think we don't remember these things.
Well, yeah, and with the pore breathing thing too, what I suggest is that when you're doing that visualization, you need for those elements to have an escape route too. And I usually visualize just a small little hole in the small of my back. So it comes in and it goes out, because the last thing you want to do is swell up.
Right. You need to be able to release the things that are clearing out your person. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I have a tendency to swell up, so I'm glad you said that.
Well, so do I.
Edema is real. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Edema is a real thing. But, I wanted to talk in the few minutes we have left, because it is, of course, your birthday month, the Merry, Merry month of Morrison. Your birthday was last week. Again, happiest of birthdays, my dear friend.
Thank you.
Tell folks who don't know about the magical mystery packages. I was going to do it, but I figured you're here, so I'll let you do your wonderful explanation of it.
Okay. Well, mystery is exactly what they are. There are several different types of packages that you can get. One is just a mystery package, just a mystery box, and they come in small and they come in a large. And that means that I get to choose whatever I want to put in your box and send it to you. Then you can also get a mystery box with a card consultation. Now, this is not a tarot card reading for you, per se, okay? What this is that I pull 3 cards, I shuffle the cards while I concentrate on you, and I pull 3 cards, and that tells me what should go into your box, which is really a fun thing because, and I love it because I hear from customers, oh my God, you nailed that. That's exactly what I needed. And so, but it gives me some idea. So it's not just my whim. I have assistance. And you are guaranteed, if let's say that a mystery box with a card consult runs $60, a large one, okay?
Yep.
What you are doing is you are giving me $5 for pulling those cards, okay?
Yep.
So what I guarantee, so that's $5 right there, okay? What I guarantee is that the products that are in your box will retail for more than $55, which is still a good deal. So you're actually getting products. Well, you're getting these products at a discount, which is fun, and it's especially good now since inflation is driving everybody nuts. And so anyway, and there is an added, I think I've got maybe 4 or 5 of these left. I have a very dear friend named Carolyn Haynes, and she is a USA best-selling author, and she writes murder mysteries. And she has a particular series that I love, which is called the Sarah Booth Delaney series. But one of the books in that series was called Charmed Bones. Every one of the titles in that series has bone in some form or fashion in the title. But this was Charmed Bones, and some of the main characters in this particular novel are witches. And so I wound up with a few of those paperbacks. And so some of the mystery packages actually are getting one of those tossed in.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. And I've gotten good feedback from that, too. It's like, oh, my God, I'm going to the beach next week. Thank you. This looks like a great book. I needed something to read at the beach. So anyway, so that is another perk this year that won't be there next year. So that is about
that's
it.
Wonderful. That's great. As a matter of fact, I just placed my order because this was actually my first opportunity to place my wonderfully wicked mystery package with card consultation in the large size, just saying, because, yes, while I may not need books to read, I trust you absolutely. I want the card. I want to know whatever that card is that tells you what I'm supposed to have in the box. I am quite excellent with and excited to find out. I've been a huge
You are
fan
not
of
going to
yours
know
for
what
many
cards I
years.
pulled.
I know. I'm just
Okay.
looking. I'm just excited to find out what's in the box, because Spirit will tell you through those means of what I need, and I'm excited to. All I'm saying is I'm excited to see what comes in. I'm finally cognizant enough, because I got sick just as the sale started, and oh my goodness, I couldn't lift my head for a while, and I'm like, I really need to treat myself to something from my Dorothy. I need something. So yes, while we were talking about it, I did a bad thing and made a purchase. Anybody who's been listening to the show for any longer than 5 or 6 years knows that Raina likes to shop, and I like to shop while I'm talking to the person. It's fun. It's very fun.
Yes, and I see it. It just came through, and I am very excited to run those cards and fill this.
I'm very excited.
In the meantime, I want you to double up on your vitamin C.
Oh, Lord. There we go.
And even if it's just through orange juice.
Good, because I actually have an entire fresh bottle of orange juice unopened. Yeah, because you know things without having to be here to see it. It's amazing. When you're a witch and a practicing witch, and you have witch friends in your life, we all like to think we have a certain level set of abilities, but I will tell you, when your friends come and say, oh, you blah, 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 and it's like, oh, thank you for reminding me of the thing I should have thought of myself, because I'm actually physically in my home, and your magical abilities are telling you that I need to go do the thing that I'm not doing. So it's fun. It's fun. Being who we are has wonderful perks. I'm just saying.
Yes, and here's another thing, pretty girl. Okay? Vitamin C is good for your skin.
Yes, ma'am. How did you know that? See, now, okay, enough, because now you're scaring me. Because I've been complaining, not publicly and not to you, that I am having problems with my skin because it's drying out like the Sahara. And I'm concerned about blotchiness and breakouts, even at my age. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, well, is this puberty again? Why am I breaking out? But yes, vitamin C is very good for the skin, especially, believe it or not, for my skin. So yes, ma'am, I will do the things.
Okay.
The vitamins and the vitamin C. Tell me, is there anything else that you see that I've not done that I should be doing? Wait, don't do it, because we don't have that much time on the air.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, I know you have more. But yeah, no, I have to say, I've spoken to somebody that received, and people on occasion will say, hey, I was listening to the show, and I decided to get one of Dorothy's mystery packages, because this is kind of our, Dorothy, I have to have her on twice a year whether she wants to or not, and she kindly indulges me. But sometimes people will say, oh, blah, 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 I got the mystery package, and you know what? This is amazing, and it is valued at more than I paid, and it is stuff that I really did need. As a matter of fact, I recently got a phone call from a friend, a mutual friend, who said she nailed it again. She just nailed it again. It's amazing to me. And I'm like, you need to tell her that. Let her sit in the glow of, yes, you do know what you're doing, and you're marvelous at it. You make wonderful products. And it's hard to find magical tools sometimes that do what they claim to do. And I have been the beneficiary of having, the luxury to get these things. And I really encourage you, folks who are listening, definitely a mystery package, a small mystery package is lovely, a large mystery package is lovely. The book Utterly Wicked is one of the best books, magical, period. Trust me, get it. Because while you may not think you need it now, you will need it. At some point, we all need everything in Utterly Wicked. As a matter of fact, another friend and I were having this conversation about Utterly Wicked as one of the finest hexing books ever written, period, hands down, bar none. There you go.
Aww.
Can't recommend it enough.
You're going to make me cry.
Don't cry. No, I mean, seriously, this is why we're here. We're here to, I mean, do we have to earn a living? Absolutely. But we come at business from a different heart in our community. We are here to help. We are not trying to hurt other people. We are trying to help other people. That is the goal. And you know, you are dealing with someone good and helpful and sincere, because we all have that level of discernment. You just have to pay attention to it. And when we lift each other up and do things in that spirit, it benefits everyone. It benefits the person who wrote it. It benefits the person who takes the information and uses it. And that's what community is really about. It's about sharing information and doing better, not just for ourselves, but for everyone else. And I think, it's a message that gets lost a lot, especially lately. Over the last few years, the nature of interaction between people has become really negative, and people are very sour on interacting with each other. And I'm hoping that we can get back, now that the pandemic has slowed down, to at least where we believe we're managing it, that people will start interacting again face to face. It is such a lost art, and I really hope people start doing it again. I only go to Mystic South, which is my home festival conference, however you would like to define it.
It's a wonderful festival. It is.
It is a wonderful festival. It is July 14th through 16th in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, at the Crown Plaza at Ravinia. It's a wonderful conference. I'm hoping I see all of my listeners and my friends there. But it's my chance to actually see folks and hug folks, and I miss a lot of people during the year, because a lot of us are just so wrapped up in our individual lives. But community is still important, and we still need to focus on it. And if you can support pagan businesses, I have this thing that really, truly annoys me that I've seen online, Dorothy, and I know you're going to understand what I'm saying. I see this thing where people are like, we should not be accepting money for blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, I still see it. And you should know better, folks of a certain age, I'm just going to say. And, some folks who may not know better, who are first coming up and learning, and I understand that. We were all young and idealistic at one time. And idealism is lovely, but it does not pay the bills, my love. And in order to be able to produce information, you have to be able to support yourself.
You do. And where this comes from is for people who have had formal training, most of them took a vow not to accept money for formal training, okay? But now that has been bastardized.
Yeah.
So they think you're not supposed to take money for anything, or they just grab that up because they don't want to pay you for your time or your services or your products or your books.
Yeah. It's really crazy. But magical work is just as important as any other work. Let me repeat that for the listening folks. Magical work is work. It is something we do in love, but it is work. And please respect it as such. If we are going to continue to have pagan businesses and pagan business people, we must support them so that they can continue to educate us and help us on our way. So I just wanted to say that and get that out there, because I think people poo-poo that, and they should not. It is work, it is dedication, it is training that someone has put in. They have put that time in, and now we will benefit from that because of the dedication they took to extend their practice and be able to write these books and be able to create these products that we have the luxury of using. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Well, but thank you for saying that, okay? Because that does need to be repeated over and over and over again.
It does. Because, I don't know where this thought that authors make a lot of money. They do not. This idea that, well, you already know this, so I don't have to learn it. Completely untrue. And you wouldn't say that to a doctor or a dentist or a lawyer or anyone else in the service field. If everyone else deserves to be paid for their time, energy, and education, so do pagans and pagan businesses and people in the craft and people who are magically experienced sharing that information. So I just keep saying respect for that is so important.
Here's one more thing. We are the people that folks go to when they're not getting results from their doctor or lawyer. And maybe they need to think about that too.
Yep, absolutely. Dorothy, every time I get to spend time with you, it is always such a privilege, even though we're friends. I am grateful to you for your knowledge. I appreciate everything you have done for me and for others in the community. You are absolutely one of the finest, most gracious people I have the privilege to know. And I wanted to thank you.
And I am very grateful for you. Not just to you, but for you. And I want you to know that.
Oh, my gosh, I'm going to cry. Now I'm going to cry. Okay, enough of this. I love you so much. I will talk to you next month. Dorothy will be back on with Storm Sestivani, and we are going to have a wonderful, crazy time. I promise. It is going to be wild. I'm really looking forward to it. That's in June. So Dorothy's coming back soon. Yay!
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. And you take care of yourself and take that vitamin C.
Yes,
drink that orange juice.
I'm doing it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm doing it. Okay. I love you. Thanks again.
I love you too, honey. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, guys. That is it for this week. I will be back next week. My brain just went kaplowy, so I don't remember what's next week. But that's okay, because I'm better, and everything's going to be fine. Please make plans to come to the beautiful, beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia, for Mystic South in July. It is, let me get you, the website is mystic-south.com. Come and see us. It's going to be a fantastic time. I am doing 2 shows this year. One is going to be a private pre-show with some of the folks who are only presenting on Friday, and, of course, the standard Friday night show to really kick it off. I hope you guys can come. Really looking forward to it. I love you all. Thank you to everybody who sent me all the love and energy while I was sick. I am I'm 99.9% better. You can probably hear that my voice is a little craggy, but I'm doing great. I love you all. I will talk to you soon. Have a great, great, great